Thank you for being a friend. Travel down the road and back again. Your heart is true. You're a pearl and a charm.
That's what we're talking about today, right?
Friends.
Friends. It's Relationship Friday.
Pals and confidants.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It's important to have them.
It's good to have friends. Yes. Because it's Relationship Friday.
It is.
Yeah. Would you like to give us some sound effects?
Oh.
You have like a yay or anything in there?
A yay? Oh,
You know,
let's
like,
see.
Yay! We're talking about friends. Yay! Yay!
Friends, yay! Yeah, I'm
Friend.
real slow.
That's okay. That's right. So, what was that?
Gulp.
Gulp. Yeah, friends. You're my best friend.
Oh, thank you, Biscuit. You are mine too.
Have you noticed that she calls me Biscuit?
Yeah.
I
Have you
do
noticed
have-
that he needs a shave?
I
mean,
do
look at
have-
that guy.
I do have a name.
Jeff is his name, and friendship is his game.
No.
So, back to what we're talking about
Okay,
here.
but, or let's get into what we're talking
Get into
about.
what we're talking about.
Right. Okay.
Take us away,
Friends.
Jeff.
Friends. Okay. So friends are important, right?
Right. Friends
Yeah.
are important.
The Bible has a lot to say about friends, if you didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
You know, who we hang out with, the people that we're friends with have a great deal of influence on us. They have, they can affect us in many ways, right? I mean, friends can hurt us. Friends can, friends
Bring us joy?
can be one of our greatest, one of our greatest reasons.
laugh with your
for
friends.
Joy, friends. We can laugh with our friends, right? It's good to have friends, right? And so the Bible. Where is my phone?
Right there.
Oh, there it is. The Bible has a lot to say about friends. So I have taken some notes on a few scriptures
Okay.
here. Now I'm going to read this first verse to you. It's Proverbs 27:6. I'm going to read it to you in the ESV, and then I'm going to read it to you in the ERV, which is called the easy to read version. And so listen to what this says. Proverbs 27:6. Faithful are the wounds of a friend. Profuse are the kisses of an enemy.
That is interesting because the
First one,
the first one I don't
faithful.
get. I get, I understand the kisses, profuse are the kisses of an enemy. I mean, that makes sense.
Right.
But wounds,
Faithful.
faithful are the wounds of a friend. What's that?
Okay, so if I read it to you in the ERV, it may help clear it up a little bit. It says this: you can trust what your friend says even when it hurts. Trust what your friend says even when it hurts. So the wounds, so sometimes a friend needs to tell us something, and maybe it's something about what we've been doing, something that a way we've been living our life, or something that we've been saying and it's wrong or whatever. And so, sometimes a friend can say something to us and it hurt us, but ultimately it would be for our own good, right? That's why. And so faithful are the wounds of a friend. Okay. And then but then it says, but profuse are the kisses of an enemy, but your enemies want to hurt you even when they act nice.
That's even stronger right
It
there.
is, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Because someone could be, what do we call those people? We call them two-faced people,
Yes,
right?
right.
That
Backstabbers.
they act one way to your face, but then they act another way behind your back.
Right.
Right. And so,
We rarely have any of those people. I mean, those people are, not to say we rarely have them, but I wouldn't say that I have a lot of people in my life that have done that to me. But
there's been some, I'm sure.
oh, sure,
right?
sure, yeah.
Right, who've acted one way to your face and then turn around, and I think a lot of that happens. Well, I think about a lot of that happening in high school.
Okay,
right?
yeah. When I was young, maybe that's why it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like it's happened. But
But still, we don't know. Hey, guess what? We have no idea what you all are saying about us. Right?
that's right.
That's right. We don't have any idea.
And that's probably
Now,
good.
Some people have
Just
been saying some very nice,
I know.
very nice
And I
things.
appreciate that.
Nobody's been saying anything bad, but some people have been very, very
Encouraging.
in what
You know,
what
when I
we've
think
been
about
doing.
when I think about friendship, I think about encouraging. I think if a good friend encourages one another to be a better person,
Right.
right?
That's
you
good.
know, I
to
mean,
be,
and ultimately,
Is
it's
there-
good
and
to be
there's-
around people that make you be a better person.
and someone also who is there for you when you're hurting, when you
Yeah.
need
Right.
lifting up, right? And so it's good for you to be an encourager, but then there's times when your friends need to come and encourage you.
And you gotta let them.
Yeah.
You gotta let them.
So Proverbs chapter 20, verse 19 says this. And this is from the ERV as well because it's a little bit easier to understand. It says, you cannot trust someone who would talk about things told in private. And what do we call that person? We call that person
Gossip.
a gossip, right? So don't be friends with someone who talks too much. Now, I'm not talking, I don't think this is talking about someone who,
Who kind of
Because
more like thrives on that kind of behavior, maybe thrives
yeah.
on that, like, I can't wait to tell you this. And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I've been, and it's something that's
if,
negative or something.
if anyone ever comes and says to you, I want to tell you something about someone, but you can't tell anybody, you need to stop them right there. Right? And say, just wait a minute. Did somebody tell you something in private and is counting on you to keep their private matters between you and them? So if someone ever says, but just don't tell anybody that I told you that, okay, you need to pause right there and think about, about what you're saying, right? So don't be friends with someone who talks too much. And I think that, that kind of person that gossips like that, they're going to end up without having a lot of friends.
Well, they're going to tell other people too. Don't be fooled. You're not the only one they're telling.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they're telling everybody.
They're telling other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, that destroys friendship, that destroys people's lives, it destroys families. So be careful. All right, so how about one more? All right. A man of violence entices his neighbor and leads him in a way that is not good. That's Proverbs 16:29.
Okay.
All right, so maybe this is not someone who we would call a friend, but we're in relationships with some of our neighbors.
Sure.
You've been walking a lot with our neighbors
Yeah,
here
absolutely.
recently, haven't you? Yeah, and you've become
been
good
fun.
friends with her, right? But there are some neighbors who may entice us to go and do things that
That
we
are out of our character.
that shouldn't do.
Right.
Right. And it's easy to
Talk a certain
you
way
would
or
think you would think that
use language we shouldn't use.
you would think that peer pressure would end. We're talking about high school, and we talk about how our college or our high school students and even JR, can succumb to peer pressure. But peer pressure doesn't end in high school. No, it doesn't end in college, and it doesn't end. I don't think it ever ends. I think there's always people who are going
I think you're right.
try to entice us to do things that we shouldn't do. And those are the people that we should avoid. We shouldn't become their friends. All right? Doesn't mean you don't witness and don't testify to them. But, you got to have a circle of people. Jesus had 12, but within the 12, he had an inner circle of 3, Peter, James, and John, right? And then he had a larger group of 12, and then he had a larger group of 70 that he sent out at one time, and then he had crowds of people that followed him. But it was that core group of people that were with Jesus that got to intimately know who Jesus was. And I think that, and the numbers aren't important, the 3 and the 12, all right? But I think it's important that we just have a few good friends that we share our most intimate times with, our own most intimate secrets with, right? Okay, one last one right here. And this goes back to what I said at the beginning about how our friends have a great influence on us. And this comes from 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. And it says this: do not be deceived. Bad company ruins good morals. Bad company ruins good morals. So the people that we hang around with are going to influence us. And you have to just think through this. It doesn't mean that you hate these people. It doesn't mean that you don't help them if they need help or things like that. But, you know, there are some people that we should just not hang around with. You know, I know one of the things in AA and NA and those sort of those groups that are like that, you know, they have what's called there's a danger in what's called slippery places and slippery people, right?
Sure.
You know, it would be difficult for someone who's trying to stop drinking to constantly be going in a bar and hanging out with a lot of people who are drinking.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know, the company that you keep is going to have an influence on you, and you're going to have an influence on them. You know, it's vice versa. It's both ways. You know, and so just be careful who you hang out with. Be careful who you are friends with.
So what do you think it is that you can go into a situation like that, even as an adult, and say, well, I'm going to take the high road and I'm going to be a good example, but yet for some reason it seems to always backfire and people will drag you down. You think we'd know better?
Yeah, I think that, you know, I think the enticement of the world and the flesh and the devil is very powerful. And, you know, we tend to give in, we tend to be the ones who always give in to temptation. You know, I think about Jesus' life, and it says that he was tempted in every way as we have been tempted. And he's the only one who really felt the full attack and the full weight of temptation, because he never gave in to it. You know, when you give in to temptation, you know, the temptation goes away, right?
Right.
But just imagine never giving into the temptation. And so I think going in, you know, maybe at the beginning, an alcoholic, you know, maybe depending on the person, you know, shouldn't hang with those people and go to those sort of places and thinking that they can go in and be an influence, because it is too easy to be influenced the other way, you know. So we just need to be careful and we need to be wise, right? But
absolutely.
I think the temptation can just be too strong to think that we can influence. The thing about it is, okay, is are we going to go into a place like that and are we going to preach the gospel? You know, are we going to tell them about Jesus? Or are we going to go in there and we're going to communicate and talk the way we used to talk when we went to those places? Use the same language.
Sure.
Are we going to truly be different than who we used to be when we go into those places?
Right.
Right? And if you can truly be different, well, then, you know, if God's leading you to go in and witness and be a testimony to Jesus Christ in a bar, then go, you know. But it's easy to be influenced. Bad company ruins good morals. That's the general principle that's given to us.
There's a lot of bad things we talked about. There's a lot of good things about friendships too.
There is, and the Bible tells us these things because God wants us to be protected. He wants us to be wise. He wants us to be smart, but He also lays out these principles and things.
And choosing
because
who we are
that's
around.
right, and because He wants to. His ultimate goal is for us to be blessed and to have a blessed life.
Right.
And
we're relational in general.
we
People,
are.
I mean, we're relational, and especially women. You know, that's what we're kind of wired to be like, and so friends are important.
Right.
And they're a gift from
Right.
God.
That's right. Yes. Okay. I think that's it for today. 14 minutes and 45 seconds.
49, 50, 51.
I'm
So-
glad I have you as my friend.
Oh, I'm glad I have you as my friend too.
Yeah, okay. I love
Yeah,
you.
love you too.
All right,
and we
and
love you.
We love you, and we will no video tomorrow, and we will see you on
Live on Sunday,
Sunday morning at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.